You are a product of all who came before you.
I've lived in the shadows. But now, it's time to show them who I really am. I'm ready.
Hell yeah.
I'll buy you some time. Just keep going.
One of the best things about the MCU is getting to see your favorite characters team up.
Totally. Like Ant-Man and the Wasp, or Iron Man and War Machine, or Rocket and Groot. Today, we're going to play a rapid-fire game of Choose Your Team Up, featuring Marvel's newest superhero, Shang Chi. You ready?
Let's go.
Who does he grab a slice with?
Tony Stark.
Busting up an enemy bunker together with?
Hulk.
Karaoke night, who's he harmonizing with?
You.
Going up against Thanos, who would he want to be next to him?
Iron Man.
You're running late to a friend's party, who would you call to give you a lift to get there on time?
You.
We make a good team. All right, last one. Joyriding through San Francisco in a sweet new ride. I'm driving. You borrowed from someone way nicer than you?
Borrowed.
Get in. I'll go slow. Don't miss the MCU's newest hero and his BFF Katie in Marvel Studios' Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, hitting theaters September 3rd.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This is going to be my new Shang-Chi trailer video. Marvel released a whole bunch of new footage. Obviously, this is all focusing on hyping him up with the Avengers, sort of implying that he will eventually cross over with the Avengers eventually, kind of winking at that from behind the camera. The director was also talking about the post-credit scenes, so we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. I will be doing a whole bunch of videos for the movie after it comes out, and if I do get a chance to see it early with the critics screenings this week, then I'll post a review video as soon as Marvel allows us to do that. But as of me posting this video, I have not seen it yet. In case you forgot, the movie's actually coming out in a couple weeks. Hopefully theaters are open where you live around the world. But in this Avengers trailer, they hype up all that Marvel Phase 1 footage intercutting with Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor's hammer, with the footage of Shang-Chi's father, the Mandarin, showing him the 10 rings, like opening that case, literally showing him the rings. There's the conversation that they have in the other trailer footage where he says, "The rings are calling to you now." It's one of the big reasons why he wants him to come back after his big Rumspringa for the past 10 years and take up the quote-unquote family business. Then while they're playing all that Avengers footage with his footage, Michelle Yeoh's character says, "You're a product of all who came before you." So if it wasn't clear from all the trailer footage, I know there was some confusion about the timeline, the director actually literally just confirmed my theory that the movie was set in present day after Avengers Endgame. I did a video a little while ago explaining the whole timeline of Marvel Phase 4 with the Disney Plus series that are happening right now. But they're using the Avengers Infinity Saga movies and the original Avengers characters to say that in the real world, this new Shang-Chi movie is also a product of all the stuff that Marvel has been doing since that first Iron Man movie. Metaphorically and literally, because of all the 10 Rings Mandarin Easter eggs in the first Iron Man movie. There was another trailer they released earlier where Kevin Feige was talking about the connection to the real Mandarin of the MCU and what was happening during the first Iron Man film, saying that it was the real Mandarin who was working through this cell that attacked Tony Stark's convoy to steal their weapons. But using all this Avengers footage and the way they talk about it, it's also a clever way that Marvel is saying that Shang-Chi will join the Avengers in Avengers 5 when they make that movie in a couple years. Gonna be a little while before we see Avengers 5. In the separate clip at the end of that footage, they also have the joke about the dance-off battle to save the universe from Guardians of the Galaxy. When he's talking about all the characters that he wants Shang-Chi to cross over with in future Marvel movies, I'm surprised he says get a slice of pizza with Iron Man and they didn't go for the shawarma name drop just because that feels like the obvious go-to if you're making a bunch of classic Avengers references. But he name drops Iron Man twice, and I understand that this is meant to be a promo to get people hyped up to buy tickets to the movie, so they want it to be very positive and happy. They don't want any huge record drop jokes, But Awkwafina should have been like, well, nope, you can't get pizza with Iron Man because he's dead. He died. That's like one of those conversations that you have while you're waiting in line at Comic-Con for Hall H, talking about the multiverse. Well, technically he could get pizza with a multiverse version of Iron Man, but my only big criticism of a lot of the promos that they release for movies like this is that they tend to get kind of bland with the references that they make. Like, they don't want it to be too confusing. Like, maybe some people haven't watched Loki. They don't understand how variants work, so you couldn't say, I'd love to get a slice of pizza with an Iron Man variant or a Tony Stark variant. But bringing it back around to the actual 10 Rings of Power, in the context of the Shang Chi movie story, Michelle Yeoh's character is actually having this conversation with him when she's training him, saying that he's both a product of his mother, who they're implying was a really good person, and he's also a product of his father, the Mandarin, who's a huge Marvel villain. So it's her having the Darth Vader conversation with him, like, yes, Luke Skywalker in the MCU, your mother was Padme, she was a very good person, and your father is Darth Vader. You're going to have to reckon with that. But being the son of one of the biggest villains in the MCU doesn't have to dictate your destiny or define who you are. It's very broad Joseph Campbell hero's journey type of storytelling that you see in a lot of these big comic book movies. They did the exact same thing with Peter Quill in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. His father, one of the biggest cosmic Marvel villains, metaphorically and literally because he's the size of a planet. Later during the trailer footage, you see him taking the 10 Rings of Power from the Mandarin. As they bond with his arms, their energy changes from the blue energy that the Mandarin was giving off to the gold energy that you see given off by the dragons flying around this ancient village. Because of the way they explain a lot of these bigger cosmic characters' powers in the MCU, I'm just wondering if his mother is supposed to be part dragon, or this is him wielding the same kind of cosmic energy that his mother's people and these monks use, because it looks very similar to the energy of these staffs in this giant door in the background here. Also kind of wondering if his mother came from this group of monks that's protecting this special door here with the Great Protector Dragon, whose name basically says it all. They're here to protect something. They've changed a lot about the Mandarin's backstory and the backstory of the 10 Rings of Power in the MCU, but the movie's coming out in a couple weeks, so thankfully we won't have to wait that long to get all of the answers. But really easy prediction to make for the next big Avengers movie, because Shang-Chi is supposed to be in that next big Avengers film. All these scenes of him wielding the power of the rings with this gold energy that he's giving off is exactly what he's going to look like in that next Avengers movie when he's crossing over with all these other characters and they're having some big fight. The other big question now too, I'm also wondering if his power arc in the MCU is going to be similar to Thor's power arc because of the way they played him over his trilogy of movies. I mean, we're getting 4 Thor films, so it's going to be a little bit different. But in the first 2 Thor movies, he got better and better with the hammer, more creative use of hammer. Then when you get to Thor Ragnarok, they take the hammer away, and eventually Thor learned that it was never about the hammer. He's not the god of hammers. So maybe in the MCU, Shang-Chi will have a similar arc with Thor in his sequels. The whole thing with this longer fight scene that they put in here, the scaffolding fight scene, is just meant to showcase the martial arts action scenes throughout the movie. This is Marvel's first big kung fu action film. The whole idea of the character is that originally when Marvel introduced him in the comics, he was meant to be their version of Bruce Lee, just because he was introduced during the big 1970s kung fu craze in pop culture. So this is kind of like Marvel trying to do a Bruce Lee kung fu action movie. Marvel's Enter the Dragon, only in this movie they have an actual dragon. You even have your tournament arc like you had in that Enter the Dragon movie. I believe between all the different trailer footage we've seen the past month, we've seen small pieces of all the biggest fight scenes in the movie. But in terms of post-credit scenes, mid-credit scenes, as I said, the director did say that definitely stay through the credits because there's some really important post-credit scenes. I think because he's a brand new character in the MCU, they also want to have some really big WTF post-credit scene. But remember, the mid-credit scenes that Marvel does usually are just funny moments to pay off something that happened earlier in the movie in a funny way, like with the characters, maybe a scene paying off the joke about Wong getting his ass kicked by the Abomination. All the really big stuff that they do usually happens in the actual post-credit scenes. That's the one that they use to push the story forward and tease the next big movie or some movie that's coming down the road. The easy picks right now are like a scene with Val and the Abomination setting up more Thunderbolts or Dark Avengers, connecting things more to Thunderbolt Ross, or a bigger Doctor Strange 2 scene with Wong connecting to that movie. The next movie right after Shang-Chi is the Eternals movie, but the thing is there's not a really huge connection between the Eternals characters and the Shang-Chi characters, other than to say the Mandarin character and the Eternals characters are all extremely long-lived, so the Eternals would probably know about the 10 Rings of Power. He does live in San Francisco, so the next best option could also be a multiverse teaser through Kang the Conqueror and Ant-Man 3, but that's a bit of a stretch, so post all your theories in the comments below. What do you think the Shang-Chi post-credit scenes are going to be? Like I said, if I do get a chance to see the movie early this week, I'll post my review as soon as Marvel lets us do that. My full Marvel What If Episode 2 video will post on Wednesday. That's the Black Panther T'Challa Star-Lord episode, so make sure you have alerts enabled so you don't miss that, because it is going to be a banger. And I just did a big Spider-Man No Way Home first look video for that new scene from the movie that we got to look at and some new promos that they released. So click here for that, and click here for that What If Episode 2 trailer video. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.